Hello everyone, welcome to Anthropology by Shiva Teja, and today we are going to discuss the topic of family, and within that the debate whether the joint family is moving towards the nuclear family. So here we are going to understand the anthropological perspectives put forth by various anthropologists and sociologists regarding this topic. So first we need to know about the family. If you observe family, within the family, the structure and the function, okay, the structure and functions, these vary greatly from one culture to another culture. So if you move from one culture to another culture, you observe the structure of the family is different, the functions they are performing is different. So most of the social scientists even today baffle to define family. Okay, they have baffled to define family because there is no universal definition of family. So given that reason, now how to define nuclear family and joint family or the extended family. So how to define this? So we have seen defining family itself has been difficult. Now what is this nuclear family and what is the joint family? Where do you have to draw the line exactly? This is not clear. So given this scenario, what we tend to do is that we tend to accept the most attractive definition. One such is given by Abraham. Nuclear family, what does nuclear family consist of? Nuclear family consists of parents and their unmarried children. So now here the children can be biological or they can be adopted as well. So this is with respect to nuclear family. And coming to the joint family, the most accepted definition has been given by Leela Dubey and MS Gore. Okay, these people have given the definition of joint family. So they have a classification within the joint family as well. Okay, so here you have linear joint family and fraternal joint family. So linear joint family is nothing but three generations. You have grandparents, their children, okay, and children of the married. So grandparents, their children who is married and the children of those who are married. So here the sibling remains unmarried, and what's happening here? So the sibling is unmarried and you only have three generations which is continuous, that is present. Henceforth this joint family is called as linear joint family. And if the grandparents, their children, okay, so their children who are siblings both are married and are living with their children together within the same family, so then such a family is called as fraternal joint family. Okay, so we have understood with respect to family, what is joint family, what is linear joint family, fraternal joint family. So now the actual topic is that whether this joint family is moving towards the nuclear family. So whether this is moving towards that, we'll look at it. Various people have given different perspectives, but when did this topic or debate start altogether? So this debate has started during the period of industrialization. So this debate started during this period, and at that point of time, one of the famous sociologists known as Talcott Parson, okay, so he is functionalist. So I hope by now you are clear with who are functionalists. If not, need not worry, we will be knowing about them in very greater detail. So functionalists are those people who tend to identify the function of things that are existing. Suppose there is family. What is the function being performed by the family? Suppose there is marriage. What is the role of marriage? What function is it performing? So they tend to observe everything that is existing is doing some function, and what function is it being performed. Okay, so in the similar manner, Talcott Parson, he has talked about society. So he said that society will evolve over a period of time. Society will evolve over a period of time. So when it evolves, it gets new social institutions. So when society evolves, it gets new social institutions. Okay. So and these new social institutions have some specialized role. So he says that society evolves, and when it evolves, the social structure gets new social institutions, and these social institutions perform some specialized job which were being performed altogether by the traditional institutions. Okay, so in the past, one traditional institution used to perform all the jobs, but now the new social institutions keep coming up. Okay, so and they perform specialized jobs. So in what context is he saying? So Talcott Parson, he believes that previously pre-industrialized society, in the pre-industrialized society, there were extended families, and post-industrialization, what happened? You have got nuclear families. Okay, why? Why did this happen? Why did the nuclear families come up? So he gives an explanation. These nuclear families have got a role or a function to do. So what function does it do? See, because nuclear family can move from one place to another during the industrialized society. So you know, in the industrialized society, people have to move from one place to another for work, for the purpose of work. Okay, so what is best suited in that point of time? So joint family cannot move altogether from one place to another. So nuclear family does this function in a better manner. So geographical mobility, it is easier for the nuclear family. Henceforth, he says that from pre-industrialized extended families, the change has been noticed towards the nuclear families. So this was the Talcott Parsons functionalist view of observing the change from the extended families to the nuclear families. Okay, so along with Talcott Parson, supporting his view, the other sociologist, that is W.J. Goody, supported the same view that with industrialization, what has happened is the change has been noticed from joint family to nuclear family. So along with this, okay, so he has noticed the relationship between the pattern and the social status. Okay, he has noticed the relation between the family pattern and the social state. Okay, here he has noticed the relationship between industrialization and the family structure. Okay, so whether it is joint family or nuclear family. So before industrialization, he agreed with Talcott Parson that it was joint family, but after industrialization, due to the industrialization process, the change has been noticed. And other thing what he has noticed is that in the upper class families, there is, so social status, if you notice, that is upper class families and the lower class families. So in the upper class families, the family pattern is joint family, and in the lower class families, the family pattern is the nuclear family. So these were the things that have been noticed by these initial sociologists. See, we are studying anthropology. Then why is Sir talking more about the sociologist? Actually, in the post-independence period and even the pre-independence period, especially if you notice, Andrew Beatle has said that it is up to the sociologist or anthropologist what to be called. Okay, so it is up to him whether if he want him to be called anthropologist, then he is anthropologist. If he want him to be called sociologist, he can be sociologist. So there is very less difference because of the common ground of work that is there, especially with respect to field work that is conducted. So because of that reason, we tend to study both sociologists and anthropologists who have done work on these areas. Okay, so W.J. Goody has said this, and we have seen previously that Talcott Parson has talked about this, right? It has served some function. So, in support of this, Peter Will Peter Wilmot and Michael Young. So these people have studied the families of East London, and they have said that especially family, the nuclear family has served one function. Okay, so with respect to one function, it has served well. That what has happened because of industrialization, you have seen increase in employment, you have seen increase in education. Okay, so because of this, the decision making power, okay, the symmetrical families, that means within the family the power between women and men have become equal. So they have said that the nuclear family has served one function, to make family symmetrical in nature. So this is one thing that has been supported, but at the same time, okay, there is Peter Laslett, who has denied the Talcott Parsons view that there is no proof that previously, before industrialization, there were extended families, and post industrialization there are nuclear families. Okay, so these are the views which have remained with respect to generally at the world stage. Okay, so now coming to India. So we all know that with respect to India, the family variations are very huge. If you notice, okay, the study that has been done by Pauline Kolenda, he has talked about three things. There is variation based on the region. So he has noticed that based on his studies that has been conducted in various parts of the nation, okay, he has noticed that in the Gangetic Valley, especially in the north, he has observed there is high amount of joint family that is being practiced, and the same is not the case with the central India and South India. So here you don't notice that amount of joint families. Okay, so he has noticed high amount of joint families being practiced in this Gangetic Valley area, right? So this is with respect to difference or the variation with respect to region. So family structure is not only varying with region, but at the same time with respect to caste. Okay, so he has said that with respect to caste, upper caste people follow joint family, whereas lower caste people follow nuclear family. So this difference he has observed. So this variation has been observed in caste. So family structure within India is varying according to region, according to caste, okay, and he has observed that the conversion of joint family to nuclear family also varies across the country. Okay, so because of what reason that joint family is becoming nuclear family. So when you observe in many of the cases, like suppose there are three generations, okay, so there are three generations, grandparents, their children and their children. So suppose there is only one daughter, so now she is married and she is moving to other place. So now what happens, this joint family has become nuclear family. So the change of timing of joint family to nuclear family also varies across the country. So these were the observations made by Pauline Kolenda, and you can observe this that with respect to caste. So there, if you see, W.J. Goody has observed that upper class people follow joint family and the lower class people follow nuclear family. The same way, upper caste people follow joint family and the lower caste people follow nuclear family, according to the study that has been conducted by Pauline Kolenda. Okay, so in order to support this, there are other studies also. If you see Cohen in study of Chamars of Senapur, so there he has observed certain things. Why lower caste people follow nuclear families? Why can't they afford to have the joint family? So there he has mentioned the reasons. That first thing, that is demography. So demographic factor, survival rate of the children of lower caste people is very low. So that is one important thing. Second, social factors. So especially with respect to women, okay, if you see with respect to women, they used to work from large periods of time. It's not now, but if you look at even the ancient history also, so you notice the lower caste women move out of the house for the work, where the women in the upper caste were not allowed to go out. And one more important reason is keeping their independence or autonomy aside. The second thing is that their sustenance depends on the both the people, that husband and wife working together, or else they can't lead their life. So that is the social factor. And the third thing is that spatial mobility. Okay, so spatial mobility, because if they have to survive, they have to move to different places for work, and if they have to move, they cannot have the joint family or afford a joint family. Henceforth, Cohen, from the study of Chamars of Sinapur, has said that these three factors are limiting the lower caste people from affording a joint family. So these were the studies that has been done, and contrary to the views that has been put forth by Cohen and Kolenda, so these people, what did they say? So from their study, they have said that, so post-industrialization, because of various reasons, the nuclear families is being noticed, right? So in contrary to the views that have been said by Talcott Parsons, F.J. Goody and these people, K.M. Kapadia says that Indian families are not losing the joint family ethic because of industrialization. The families might be moving to the newer locations. Okay, so they might be starting a nuclear family. Despite moving to the newer locations, yet they are not losing this joint family ethic, because they tend to appear during the events of death, illness, or any events that are happening. Okay, any celebrations that are happening, they tend to do it together. Okay, so this thing has remained, and henceforth what has been said by the others, that Indian families are losing this joint familyness, is not true according to K.M. Kapadia. Even M.N. Srinivas, based on his study, suggests the same thing. Okay, so M.N. Srinivas, based on his study in Rampur especially and the Coorg area, so there he says that if you notice properly, any problem or any crisis that arises, so despite the families being very far, they tend to deal it as one. They consider it's their problem. Okay, so they don't see it separately. They tend to see it together. Henceforth, the joint family ethic has remained strongly within India, and India is not moving from joint family to nuclear family. These are the views that have been put forth by K.M. Kapadia and M.N. Srinivas. And there is other kind of view that has been discussed, that is developmental cycle. Okay, so T.N. Madan, S.C. Dubey, T.N. Madan, along with others, have come up with the view that, see, there is no moving of joint family to nuclear family, because it is a developmental cycle. So what happens? First, you have a nuclear family. When this is the nuclear family, right? Parents and their children, unmarried children. Now what happens when their children get married? It becomes joint family. So when their children get married, it becomes joint family. So this is first nuclear family. Now it has become a joint family. Now what happens when one of the grandparents, okay, so when the grandparents get deceased, so now again it becomes a nuclear family. So the change keep on happening. Okay, the change keep on happening. So this is cyclical in nature. Henceforth, they called this family is going through the developmental cycle. So these are the various views with respect to whether joint family is moving towards the nuclear family. So whenever you get a question, you have to address as if you are talking to the examiner, and it should be descriptive in nature rather than quoting any name. Okay, so what they are trying to say and the debate that is being done has to be written. Okay, so in conclusion, what you can write is that if you see, family is a very fluid institution, right? So not just the changes that you can notice from joint family to nuclear family, but most importantly in today's modern family, or you can call post-modern family, what is happening? You notice same-sex marriages that are happening, right? So you notice the lesbian marriages or gay marriages and LGBTQ plus things are coming up, and you also notice single mothers because of the increased rate of divorce, because the families are getting smaller. So what is happening is that the change that you notice in the family is very dynamic, and altogether the question whether the joint family, nuclear family, or the definition of family can be universal or can we have any definition itself is the question to many of the sociologists and anthropologists, and that question has been a matter of debate even today. Okay, so we didn't come to any conclusion. So henceforth, the topic of whether joint family is moving towards nuclear family, according to some people it's happening and according to some it's not, but at the end most of the people believe that the question itself is wrong, that because there is no clear cut definition where exactly you can draw the line between the joint family and the nuclear family. Okay, so this is all with respect to the topic of whether joint family is moving towards the nuclear family, and in the next session we'll come up with a new topic. That's all for today. Thank you very much.